Welcome to another edition of PacWest Magazine. I'm Wayne Coito. Our fall races are heating up in the PacWest with all eyes firmly set on the coveted conference championship, especially in women's volleyball. Let's go to the gym and check out two teams battling for the conference title. Hundreds of Sea Warrior faithful packed the St. Andrews Priory Gym as the HPU women's volleyball team played host to BYU Hawaii. And it was no secret that this big match could go a long way in deciding if Coach Daryl Capus' Sea Warriors could keep the trophy away from the co-defending champ Seasider squad, who brings some brand new faces to the team this year. Capus took the reins of the HPU program in 2006 and has steadily improved his team, yet the PacWest title has consistently eluded his Sea Warriors. A victory over the rival Seasiders on this balmy evening in downtown would be the sixth consecutive one in the long-time series. Unfortunately for Coach Capus, Game 1 immediately favored the Seasiders behind an onslaught of kills from Taiwanese teammates Shi-Ting Chen and Fang Xu, as the Sea Warriors already found themselves down 12-5 just a few minutes into the contest. But that's when the Sea Warriors attacked behind a dynamic duo of their own. First, Sonoy Reka, and then Natasha Bell to pull HPU within striking range. But the game belonged to the Seasiders, who looked strong at every position. Going to all PacWest first teamer, Losaline Pula on the outside, getting heads-up plays from freshman setter Yi Chun Chen, or utilizing the strong middle attack in junior Courtney Skaggs. The Seasiders would then get the deciding point with an emphatic kill by their other tall middle blocker, Lauren Hagemeyer, to breeze to a 25-16 Game 1 win. In Game 2, the Seasiders worked their inside-outside combo of Skaggs and Chen, whose big slams silenced the Priory Gym crowd. But this set would be decidedly in favor of HPU, who was able to slowly build a 5-point lead and never relinquish it. And on game point, who better to go to than the consistent Natasha Bell, who had an outstanding game-high 19 kills on the night. After a 10-minute intermission between games, HPU could have lost the momentum it worked hard to build up. With outsides Chen and Julia Aika Becker trying to provide a spark off the bench, Coach Wolfer Navalta's squad looked back in the match. But the Sea Warriors would take an early lead and not look back. Behind a downtown block party that the Seasiders just could not crash. And on game point, the Sea Warriors turned to right side hitter Brittany Wood to seal the deal at 25-16. Game 4 started the way the last ended, with HPU holding a solid 2-point advantage to start the set. But knowing this could be the end of the match, BYU Hawaii finally started feeling its rhythm and grabbed the lead at 15-12. And Coach Capus had seen enough. Coming out of the timeout, the Seasiders refused to give up their lead and took the count to 22-20 after this ferocious double block from the Taiwanese terrorists Xu and Chen. HPU would not relent as Wood and Haley Dorfler's smartly played shots pulled the Sea Warriors even at 23-all. And that's when the Seasiders turned to their best player on the night, Chen, the lefty pounding the ball from the right side, and now her team was 1 point away from taking the match to a fifth. But a Sioux service error gave the Sea Warriors another chance. Now down 24-25, setter Pihana Kea found her favorite target on the night, Bell, who pounded the ball through the open gap in the block to bring the blue and green faithful to their feet. A Courtney Curran kill gave HPU match point, but the deflated BYU Hawaii squad had one last chance. Yi Chun Chen would go to Puli on the outside, but her slam would go wide, ending a long and hard-fought battle, with the Sea Warriors claiming victory on this night.
struggling in these past few weeks. And it was good. We all came together. We played with heart. We played with fire today, and our energy was really good tonight. And we actually came through. It was really exciting.
This is the night our team came together. Like, we've been practicing for a month and a half now, going through struggles, losing games, winning games, and we finally found our mesh and our togetherness. And now we're just ready to propel that forward and just go on with the rest of the season, win any game we can.
Spirit Club is always here, and our fans are nice and loud tonight, and our bench is crazy. On the court, I had a hard time trying to tell my hitters where to hit, but it helped. I think it helped our energy. We were all positive, and just helped a lot to have all our fans here and cheering really loud for us.
In the first game, everybody just wanted it so bad that we got a little bit too energized, a little bit too antsy, and we just kind of had to tone it down and start playing our game. We had to calm down, take a deep breath, and we play really well when we're happy. And like I said, everybody just smile, like just be us, and we're fine. We went to that second game, we played our game, and that's what won it in the end.
The PacWest. From Hawaii and California to Utah and Arizona, it's the most beautiful destination conference in the entire NCAA. 10 outstanding schools: Academy of Art, BYU Hawaii, Cal Baptist, Chaminade, Dixie State, Dominican, Grand Canyon, Hawaii Pacific, Notre Dame de Namur, and the University of Hawaii at Hilo. The home of champions and outstanding student athletes, the PacWest.
I chose Division II because athletes graduate at a higher rate.
I can stay closer to home
and be an important part of the community.
I chose Division II because I can double major.
And take part in campus activities.
I chose Division II because classrooms are smaller.
Students have more time with their instructors.
And I can compete for a national championship.
I chose Division II for all these reasons and more.
I chose Division II.
Welcome back to PacWest Magazine. Let's go now to one of our longtime conference members, BYU Hawaii, for highlights from the North Shore.
BYU Hawaii played host to the defending PacWest champion Grand Canyon men's soccer team on the scenic Laie campus in the shadows of next-door neighbor, the Polynesian Cultural Center, and the famed Ha Breath of Life night show. But on this afternoon on the North Shore, it was the renowned scoring attack of the Antelopes that took center stage. Following the just completed women's contest between the same schools that ended in a 0-0 double overtime tie, it looked early on like the men's match would not follow the same script, with Grand Canyon seemingly pushing the ball into scoring territory at will. First half shooting was dominated by the Antelopes, who had 18 shots on goal compared to only 3 for the home team. But for the first 42 minutes of the match, GCU was unsuccessful in converting any of those attempts, with BYU Hawaii's 6'7" junior goalkeeper Josiah Holtz sealing the net, until Lope forward Saeed Robinson notched his first goal of the season. The Antelopes had the 1-0 lead at halftime, but the Seasiders, behind their ruckus home crowd and stubborn defense, were never too far behind. And just 5 minutes into the second period, BYU Hawaii sophomore Ben Jensen snuck a pass around the GCU defenders to teammate Brett Waters to tie the match. With the score at 1-1, the Antelopes intensified their attack on the BYU Hawaii goal. But the Seasiders and their numerous and impressive defensive stands would take the match into double overtime. And with just minutes left and the Grand Canyon attack nestled in the BYU Hawaii box, it looked like the Lopes would finally get their breakthrough. But the Seasiders stood tall to thwart any last-minute heroics. So even though GCU outshot the home team 37-13, this epic battle would end in a 1-1 tie.
We had all the opportunities in the world to win the game. Congratulations to BYU. They played their hearts out. There was lots of effort on their side, and they gave themselves a chance to tie the game, and they did, and they could have easily won the game. With that being said, we had all the chances to put it away. We were in front of the goal about 10 times, and we missed great opportunities. We didn't finish the job, and we go home with a tie.
Because this is the first time we were able to put our strategy, our formation, and our new players up against a really good team, and they are a really good team. But we showed we can stay with anybody. Yeah, they had a lot of shots, they had some speed, but when we were able to pass around like we do with our 3-5-2 formation, we had some opportunities, and we were able to keep them. When we play our game, we can play it against anybody. And I think from that result, and we know more about the other teams, we think we can play against anybody.
All the teams in conference are getting better, so there's no surprises, and I'm glad to see that. In the past we could come to BYU and for sure know it's a win. Now you can't do that anymore. Even Chaminade's gotten better. Everybody in the conference is getting better. Cal Baptist is new in the conference, so it's the way it should be in the conference. It shouldn't be nobody running away with the conference.
Three PacWest schools call Northern California home: Academy of Art, Notre Dame de Namur, and Dominican University. We go to San Rafael, California right now and check in on the Penguins. Without a doubt, one of the gems of beautiful Marin County is the gorgeous campus of Dominican University. Tucked away between the hills and the San Francisco Bay in San Rafael, California, Dominican is one of the prettiest locations in our great destination conference. The school is also the home of fervent community service and student support, as exemplified by the Penguins accepting the PacWest Community Engagement Award in the fall a year ago. And now, for the second year in a row, Dominican topped all the other conference schools in winning the PacWest Academic Achievement Award with a stellar student-athlete GPA last year of 3.25. I was honored to hand out the most recent award to the university's new president, Dr. Mary Marcy, and her board at a brief ceremony earlier this fall. With an academic GPA of 3.25, and once again, #1 in the Pacific West Conference. So on behalf of all of the PacWest student athletes, we are delighted to present you the Academic Achievement Award for 2010-2011, Dominican University of California. Chair Galding and President Mary Marcy. Congratulations. The Penguins Athletic Director Terry Toomey says he's tremendously proud of the continued academic success of Dominican student athletes and their commitment to the classroom and the NCAA Division II model of life in the balance.
I think it's a goal for us in all ways. I think we recruit those type of student athletes. It's really a compliment to them and their professors, and really, more importantly, to our leadership here, that goal of being academically excellent is something that we strive for every day.
So we're not just playing; we're student athletes, and there's a big student component to that. There's a big athlete component to that, and there's a big component out in the community. So one of the things that we did this past fall is we got together and we worked with an elementary school and taught some kids some fundamentals of basketball and various other sports. I think that's good that we participate not just on the court but also off the court.
I tell you what, it's a really compliment to not just the student athletes but our staff as a whole. Our professors, our executive leadership, everyone has kind of pulled together, and we're seeing some success in the classroom, which is great.
So the great learning and the great grades continue in San Rafael. Congratulations once again to Dominican University of California, back-to-back winners of the PacWest Academic Achievement Award. The PacWest has some of the most amazing stories you could find anywhere in sports. We're now going to check out this feature story from San Francisco. Belmont, California, on the campus of Notre Dame de Namur, was the site of a special awards presentation this fall. That's where NDNU President Judith Gregg was on hand to accept our PacWest Community Engagement Award in a brief ceremony in between sets of a PacWest women's volleyball contest. The Argonaut faithful showed their support of their team and their community. Another way that Notre Dame de Namur has shown its community engagement is with its outstanding soccer field. Corrett Field has become a great home for local youth teams and is widely renowned in the Belmont community. The Argonauts of Notre Dame de Namur have always had an outstanding soccer program. The Argos soccer teams have won PacWest titles and have represented the conference in the NCAA regionals. The upgrading of the field for soccer and lacrosse has been the dream of Argonaut Athletic Director Josh Duty and has been noticed by competitors like Academy of Art AD Jamie Williams, who used to be on the NDNU board.
And build it up. So they built the new gym, they fixed that up, and they had this space here they want to turn into a soccer field. There was some argument about what should they turn it into, but they got it done, and working with the city of Belmont has been problematic for them. And you wouldn't think it would be because it's the only college in Belmont. But I'm glad to see they did it, and it looks good, and great field. I need to get one of these at the Academy of Art.
The all-weather surface makes the playing conditions great, and the new coverings for the stands make the experience for the fans a very pleasant one.
Here we got a donation to put canopies over the spectator area and the bench area. In the future, we'll have a scorer's stand that we'll be able to put the scorer's table on top of to elevate them, and then it will have an attachment for video for the games. So it's really upgraded the facility, so it's really nice now. Before it was a nice field, the playing surface-wise, but now it's more fan-friendly because now you can get out of the sun. Before there was no shelter from any kind of the weather. So it's been good so far this year.
It looks California, so and that's a good thing, and it's kind of a hallmark for the university. I'm sure they've used it well for recruiting. The soccer teams are very good, and of course we have great rivalries with them, which is good. I mean, we're only up the street, and that's what we should have, because we have families on both sides that live nearby and come to the games, and we have good friendly rivalries.
With the tremendously competitive soccer and the great upgrades, Corrett Field has blossomed into one of the finest D2 soccer fields in the West.
I think the students really like having the feeling of it's more of a cozier field, and I think it might be comparable to a low Division III kind of English Premier type of level facility now. I think it's made the facility look real nice.
Notre Dame de Namur's Corrett Field, another great example of how PacWest schools make a positive impact in the community.
Where did you come up with that? You.
You?
You? Yeah, no. How about you?
Mm-hmm. You in the white.
Over the years, we've had a lot of great features on the PacWest magazine. Let's go inside the PacWest magazine vault.
Nearly
Nearly 30 years ago, little NAIA Chaminade shocked the world with an upset over the #1 team in all of college basketball, Virginia. It has been an accomplishment gone unmatched since that December 1982 day in Honolulu. Springing out of that upset came the formation of the Maui Invitational, and Chaminade has been the tournament host since the inception, reminding us of their legacy as giant killers. But the Silver Swords had only won 5 games in the tournament compared to 73 losses, all against Division I foes, going into the final day of the 2010 Maui Invitational on ESPN.
Oklahoma from the Big 12 against Division II Chaminade. Game number 1, game number 3 from the Lahaina Civic Center. Aloha once again, Carter Blackburn with Jimmy.
Having put a scare into the country's second-ranked Michigan State just 2 days earlier, Chaminade proved they could give anyone a fight. But if the Swords were looking for a win, they knew it would have to be behind fiery point guard Stephen Bennett, who refused to let the Sooners break away in the first half.
Good end, blow by. You better not relax, and you better not stand up in your stance, because as soon as you do either one, number 5 is at the rim, and he can't finish.
The Swords would also look inside the 7-foot USC transfer Mamadou Diarra, who had team highs of 15 points and 11 rebounds on the night. Chaminade would have its hands full with one of the Big 12's best shooting guards, Cade Davis, here giving the Sooners their largest lead of the game. Now down by 3 late in the first, the men in blue would look to sharp shooting senior Shane Hansen to pull the Swords even. A Wally Coulibaly 3 soon after would give the Swords their first lead of the game. And with the first half winding down, it was Stephen Bennett with a high-arching kiss off the glass to put the upset-minded Silver Swords up by 3 going into the locker room. In the second, Chaminade would explode offensively. Now up by 7, it was 5'7" point guard teammates called Steve-O padding the lead. Silver Sword fans started to believe they could get their 5th win over a major Division I program, and there were no happier fans in the family of Coach Matt Marr, whose father was making his first trip to the islands with son Matt as head coach. Moments later, Hansen would come off a screen to knock down a long 3, and Chaminade had its largest lead of the night. But the Sooners would not go away quietly. Behind the hot shooting of Davis, Oklahoma would completely erase the deficit to tie the game with only 3 minutes left. With only 2 seconds on the shot clock late in the game, Chaminade clung to a 2-point advantage. But a well-designed inbounds play tied the game for the Sooners, and it looked like the big win could be slipping away. Coach Marr and the fans would sweat this one out on the sidelines, but he would put the ball in the hands of his little leader.
Bennett to the rim. Bennett's floater goes off the glass. That's the guy. You know you'll at least get a shot when the ball's in his hands. Oklahoma has a timeout. Newell doesn't take it. Davis for the lead. Chaminade is 8 seconds away from its first victory in the Maui Invitational since 2007. Oklahoma just goes straight to the rim and score within 3 seconds. Newell tries a 3. Rebound. It is. Chaminade gets its 6th ever win in the Maui Invitational.
An especially sweet moment for seniors Bennett and Hansen, who finally got a taste of victory in Maui.
Well, that feeling was something I never experienced before, playing on national TV where all my family and my friends and my other teammates from years in the past saw me perform well and saw me lead my team to victory. It was just an amazing feeling, especially in the sense where they say Division II is, you know, weaker than Division II is weaker than Division I. We just came out there and proved that it's really not no different.
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, going into Maui, it's my last year. I know it's my last ever Maui, and my family was all there, and it was a big family get-together, and we started off with Michigan State, and it was a competitive game. No one really thought that going in, but we hung in there. And then in the Oklahoma game was just incredible because it was a battle. It's what you want when you play college basketball. You want to battle, and we were fortunate enough to come out with the W.
Well, it's great. It's like one of the main reasons why I came here because You know, when Chaminade goes to the Maui, everybody feels like they're the underdogs, you know. So getting the win proves a lot of people wrong. And throughout that whole tournament, we played pretty well, where we got a lot of respect from a lot of people.
But the big story from the game would be about a father and son, and it would tug at the heartstrings of a national audience.
Had a shot of your dad in the stands crying at the end of that ball game. How do you feel, buddy?
It's just great to have him here. You know, I got my whole family here, and if he's crying, he's going to make me cry. You know, first time he's come out in 5 years, so it's been great.
He hasn't been out here in years and years to Hawaii. He was when he was a coach, came out, but I've been begging him to come out for years, and finally my little brothers are old enough where they'd kind of enjoy it. They're in high school, so it was tremendous having them around. A little bit stressful at times trying to deal with 7 or 8 people around, but to have them there for that win was really, really special.
Cannot allow Oklahoma. You're talking about, look at this. That is college basketball passion right there. Matt's dad in the stands. He can feel and sense the emotion coming through those eyes. Picture worth 1,000 words.
And with Chaminade on national TV every year, don't expect this to be the last upset you'll ever see.
Maui helps us with recruiting and national exposure with our kids. They all want to play on that main stage against the top teams in the country, and really the best that college basketball has to offer. And it helps every year with recruiting, but when you get a win and you can say, look, we beat a Big 12 team and they're playing well right now, that's something, another feather in your cap. So it's definitely been, it's something to remember, but right now we're trying to focus on the PacWest season and what's ahead of us here this week.
There's going to be a high-profile championship game to come. There's ranked opponents. There's champions from the Final Four. But no bigger moment in Maui this year than a 68-64 win for Chaminade over Oklahoma.
With its history of epic upsets, the Chaminade Silver Swords make us proud to be the PacWest. Thanks for joining us on PacWest Magazine, a closer look at the people and places of the Pacific West Conference. For the latest PacWest news, join us on the web at thepacwest.com. There you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and watch even more PacWest Magazine on our YouTube channel. For Bob, Hogue, and Malia Smith, I'm Wayne Coito. See you next time on PacWest Magazine.